My Gavan and Melanine, and well met indeed. I am Arakea Galadirthin, the head of Divide and Conquer, and welcome back to Divide and Conquer as we continue on as the Dwarves of Khazad-dûm. Now we are doing alright. We've defeated the Balrog, we have consolidated almost our complete hold on Khazad-dûm. For the Orcs of the Misty Mountains are content to continuously attack us until their very resources run dry. And the Dunlandings just don't know when they're beaten, which they are. However, before... there's a little rundown of that, but before we dive in any detail, we'll have to talk about 1.1 for a bit. Feel free to skip along until I stop, unless you wish to know. That is, first and foremost, there is a little bit of a concern that perhaps the additional names that have been added to the mod... I don't know if you know, but in the changelog you should have seen it. El Monstero, one of our testers, felt that there weren't enough names for the Orc units nor the Eastmen factions, and that the generals, there could be some new names added just to spice it up. So he added a load of names. I couldn't see any problem with it, so we went ahead with it. However, we're now receiving a lot of reports of just random end-turn crashes that don't end the game, they just crash the game. And then if you reload the turn, it seems to work fine. Additionally, we've had a single report so far, but there may be others, of a Easterling captain who had no name. And that is a massive worry, because if they're... Well, let me take you through my thinking. The game has hard-coded limits on almost everything. There's a hard-coded number of regions, 200. There are 500 units that can be present in the game, full stop. Not in the battle map, I mean listed in the game's unit directory. There can only be 500 units. There can only be a certain number of buildings. There's hard-coded limits everywhere, and I'm very concerned that perhaps there might be a hard-coded limit for names that I was unaware of, and we may have gone over it. Now, the only thing that makes me think... I don't know why I'm talking through my modding thinking with you all. I'm sure you find it very boring, but the only thing that makes me think that maybe this might not be the case is that if you go over the 500 unit limit, the game just doesn't start up. It doesn't tell you why it won't start up. It just doesn't start up. And so therefore that would suggest to me that perhaps maybe the crash isn't the fact that we've reached a hard-coded name limit. Because if we had, I would again assume the reaction or the result to be that the game wouldn't start up. However, it could be that it reacts to it in a different way, and I'm not really too sure. But we haven't really had any reports of game-ending crashes. We haven't had any reports of major bugs. There's one or two, which we'll talk about after I finish with this. But first and foremost, we're just having there are quite a few reports of just random crashes. Now, there's a strong possibility this could be down to people not disabling UAC, not running the installer as administrator, not running it properly, not running it in the right place. I mean, the last time I checked, we had something like 1,000 people already download the mod. Oh, no, sorry, it was 700 when I last checked. And that was a good 3-4 days ago, so I'm guessing it might be about 1,000 now. And that's just on ModDB. I don't know about Mediafire. And of those 1,000 odd people, we've only gotten about 8 reports across all of our areas, ModDB, YouTube, and Total War Center, of random crashes. So I'm not jumping to any conclusions just yet. You've got to keep a bit of a level head. But the fact that there are crashes as a modder, even if there are ones that are, dare I say, your fault, if you'll pardon the rather accusatory tone there, it's still something I really want to fix. I don't want there to be any crashes, any bugs, any problems, and it grates on me. So I'm going to look into maybe these names being a problem. And if there's the slightest hint that they're a problem, I will just remove them, because I don't care enough for the Orcs to have a little bit of variety. If there's a slight chance it's going to cause problems, I'd rather have stability over variety. Always have had. So that's one of the reasons why I shy away from adding major scripts to the mod, because I value stability over variety, and that has always been something that I have pursued. I hope that the team appreciate that that's how I feel. Maybe I haven't spoken of it enough recently, but in the past I've eschewed a great many scripts in favour of stability or a fear of instability. I prefer preventative steps to reactionary steps. So there we are. So we're looking into that. Other bugs that you can 100% expect at this time are as follows. Mostly Umbar. If you play as Umbar, for some reason, one of the officer units is being presented as a Silver Surfer, and I'm not really sure why. I think maybe because... Well, I know why they're a Silver Surfer, but I'm not sure how Hummingbird's missed it, because he's a very experienced model. But anyway, so there's a Silver Surfer with an Umbar unit. I don't know which ones, but Umbar. And it's not the whole unit, it's just the officer. Oh, why would you go into the fort? Go to the town. Additionally, if you play as Umbar and you build the naval dockyard, it currently has its in-game, its file name, which is C_naval_dockyard. That's only if you build the castle version of it, because I forgot to give the castle version a proper name. which is my own fault.
Of course, sir. Today's journey is
Excuse me,
over,
sorry.
sire.
You didn't hear me cough again, didn't you? I should probably stop saying excuse me, shouldn't I? Oh, I've got a drink, actually. Hold that thought, everyone. Just here. Here's one I prepared earlier. Mmm. Delicious. So, Umbar, there's a problem with the castle, naval dockyard, and Umbar, there's a problem with the officers of certain units. Those are all known. They're minor bugs. They won't cause any problems, other than they will probably break your immersion a bit, I imagine. So I can only apologise for that. Also, allow me to apologise for the, at the moment, seemingly dull campaign that this is, because I've ended turn 3 times. And we're only 5 minutes in. There was another bug as well. There's another bug. Oh, the Dunland province. It probably is the same in this one, actually. Let's go over and have a look. I think I'm in Dunland as we speak. But the Dunland province suffered from my replace all feature when I changed the file region names. So it now says Lune_land, and that's because it used to be Lune-land. Yeah, there you go. Look, bang on. I'm so good at this, I know exactly which province it is. It used to be Lune-land, but I went into the file and I found any location that was X-X and changed it to X_X. And unfortunately, Dunland missed my scouring to fix any problems. So the Dunland province is Lune_land. But that again is another easy fix. One that I think I've written down before actually, so that's my bad. I think that's it. I think that's it. We've literally got the only bugs at the moment are basically nothing.
If the enemy approach,
oh bugger! Been ambushed by Dunland things, but I bet he'll do a lot of damage before he goes down. 230 of the buggers he killed.
We'll make them regret that.
But we're losing money because of that.
We make camp here, lad.
We got a dodge tower up though. I don't fear Donaith. I don't think he's going to do anything. Although we could do with sending someone back to there. But we need these Misty Mountains orcs. I've never known the Misty Mountains to try and siege us out. They always attack. But I'll happily take them for 7 turns. Oh, and I just noticed that unless Barlin fights, he's going to die. So we're going to have to do that.
We shall engage.
Battle Khazad. We can't risk him dying either, so we'll actually have to take over this battle. Which is why I've saved it. So yeah, I don't think there are any other crashes. I think it's actually been arguably one of the most stable releases we've ever had. Save for people are reporting a few random crashes. Now, random crashes are sort of to be expected. Oh, this is what a fort looks like as well, by the way, if you're wondering. I apologise that they are purely medieval, but no one really ever thought to change the look of forts. Because it could be done really easily. If I knew how to edit settlements, I would love to do it. Because for another little modding lesson while this one kicks off, because we're going to have to go out and rush them. There are 3 types of forts in the game. There is a Teutonic Order fort. There is a standard northern fort, which is this one. And then there is a Mesoamerican fort, which is based off like Aztecs and whatnot. And so those 3 forts exist in the game, and we scattered them about. Anywhere where we have Wildmen provinces and Wildmen regions, I tended to put in Mesoamerican forts. And they have a different campaign model, as you would have seen, because we've just walked past a couple of forts. Indeed, the 3 forts in Dunland are all Mesoamerican. But this is a standard like northern fort. But what we can quite easily do, but no one has ever yet done, although I could try and fiddle around. Oh no, I think it's beyond my skillty. But a fort is essentially just a really small castle. So you could take Leo's dwarven castle, lowest tier castle, and make that the battle map for a fort. That's something I suppose I could look into. But then on the campaign map, I don't know what you'd choose to be the fort, because you'd want the dwarves to have a unique one, wouldn't you? But anyway, so it's entirely possible for someone to create... Are you just moving to the back, or are you actually running away? Oh my word, you've literally moved as far away as is humanly possible. Idiots. It won't save them. Even though they've got archers, they're facing one of the best infantry units in the game. And so the attempts to run away will see them met nothing. But the moral of the story, but the fact that there are a few bugs, and if this name bug does turn out to be a thing, I will release in quick succession a patch 1.2. However, if everything goes well, it will be entirely save game compatible. But I'm not even sure that we need to release one just yet. But I can't stand bugs that I know how to fix that are really major. Like, I'm not bothered about the Umbar Castle dockyard being called C_naval_dockyard. It doesn't crash the game, and you can only build it in castles that border the ocean, which is few and far between anyway, apart from the two that Umbar actually start with. Oh, the tree sprites are rubbish. Look how poor that tree sprite looks until you zoom in. And I'm also not bothered about like the Dunland having an underscore or one Silver Surfer unit in Umbar's units. None of those really matter to me. But something that causes a crash that I can fix is something I would like to fix. Now the other alternative, and one I'd really like to not think, is that we've obviously got a new campaign and battle AI courtesy of Z3N. And there's a massive possibility that the random crashes, if there really is a surge in random crashes, there's a huge possibility that it is because of the new campaign AI.
Our men are winning the
And
battle.
I really don't want that to be the case because I have no clue about the campaign AI. There are, as I've said before, there are restrictions to our modding team owing to our lack of areas that we can cover. And one of those areas is the campaign and the battle AI. They are things that we cannot edit. Only Z3N can. Now, if there were major crashes, we would know about it, though, because this has been tested extensively. Like, what we're releasing to you hasn't just been a work of a few weeks. It's been tested a lot. And so crashes with the campaign AI would have come out many times.
Our men have fought long
So,
and are becoming tired.
now, if someone's having a crash every 2 to 3 turns, I really am sorry, because it sounds so heartless, but it is entirely your fault. But it's not your fault per se, but it's entirely your end. That's nothing to do with us. Now, if the game crashes once every kind of 50 to 100 turns, that is actually expected. It's an old game, it doesn't really like mods, and we're pushing the game to its limit. So once every 150 turns is totally normal. You don't need to report those crashes. If you can just load up the game and get around the crash, then that is just evidence. It's just a random crash, just move on. Now, if you're getting crashes once every 10 to 20 turns, again, the likelihood is it's on your end. Your computer can't handle it, or your settings aren't low enough, or you've not disabled UAC, you've not run as administrator, you've not done this, you've not done that. But if there are recurring crashes once every sort of 20 turns, then it could also viably be something that's a problem at our end. So we will look into maybe seeing if the names thing is really crashing the game or not. But I don't think it will be. I really, really don't think it will be. So don't hold your breath. Oh, I've pressed a button. What have I pressed? Nothing. It's alright. The other thing is, obviously, we tried to limit the diplomats. And the reason we limited the diplomats, if you aren't aware, is because the AI was building millions of them. The new campaign AI, for whatever reason, the old campaign AI, had certain restrictions on diplomats, and the AI would actively try and not train them. However, in this new version, they're attacking us as well, madmen. Now it's going to be well easy to defend. Did I just save it? Yes, I did. We'll save it again. Whoops. The old AI didn't train very many diplomats. There were checks in place through the campaign AI or through the scripting, through somewhere like that. I remember discussing them. There were checks in place to stop them training too many diplomats. However, now those bars seem to have lifted, and they train bloody loads of them. So I put in the app, rather than speaking to Z3N, who is, dare I say, he's not particularly active in our forums, and I have no idea what he's actually doing in the background, and like his checks and stuff, and the stuff that he does. He doesn't really download any of the information that... download's not really the right word. Basically, he does work without talking to us first, and that's absolutely fine, because his work is very, very good. The new campaign AI is leaps and bounds ahead of what it was before. But it does leave us somewhat in the dark. And so we can't contact him all that easily, so it's just not really worth trying, so I haven't. So, instead, I thought, I know how to fix problems with diplomats, so I'll fix it myself. So what I did to stop the diplomat hordes was to... Oh, well, let's keep those cavalry alive, actually. Put them over there. Was to restrict diplomats. As you're all aware, you can now only train them from a single town in your empire at game start, and to train any more, you need to conquer other regions. And that will get you more diplomats. And the AI, not happy with my blocking of their diplomats, have taken matters into their own hands, and they now bribe the absolute hell out of enemy diplomats. So the AI is still getting a ton of diplomats because they're circumventing my restrictions by bribing people. The jammy buggers. Oh no, now actually here's a thought. Sorry, I keep switching between talking about modding and then talking about everything else. Let's send the dwarves up because they're going to be harder to replace in Dunland than the Dunland units are. These men are mercenaries and thus retrainable, so we'll hold them back. Oh, hold on. Yeah, so no, we should do it the other way around. Well, I don't know, actually. I'm thinking if we keep them out, because kind of we want the dwarves to kind of die off and replace them with those, but we will eventually be able to train dwarves here, so no. We want to kill off the units that we can retrain. And we want to try and keep in reserve the units that we can't. Right, now we've actually decided. Let's click start and let's do what we're doing. You, shield wall, you, shield wall, you. Oh, you can't shield wall, you jammy buggers. So, basically the AI is just bribing. So what I'm going to try and do is, I'm pretty sure that bribery can be circumvented with the use of traits. There are certain traits that make it very unlikely that someone will turncoat, will abandon you for money. And I'm going to try and use the whatever it is that allows people to be... I think it's loyalty. I think the loyalty trait governs how much they're going to be loyal to you or not. Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Anyway, I'm going to give the diplomats a hidden trait which massively increases their, let's say, its loyalty. That massively increases their loyalty so that they don't abandon you at the first sign of money. Oh, look at this absolute nightmare placement. I don't like these middlemen towns because I don't feel like they're really meant to work here. Pretty sure these are from Rome. The buildings and everything are from Rome, I want to say. Because I don't think they're...
The enemy have
oh no, hold on, aren't they like...
repel the attackers.
Yeah, these are wild men villages. From the base... No, Med 2 doesn't have any wild men. Everyone lives in towns in the medieval era. These must be the Roman ones. Not really sure. Anyway, I don't really like this model. There are big gaps in it where you can't actually walk because the buildings aren't built yet, but it still doesn't let you walk over those places. And it's just glitchy and rubbish. Oh, and to those of you who are saying that you're having problems whereby there are towns where you can't attack the gates. The battering rams can't attack the gates. First of all, I would suggest to you that they probably can attack the gates, but just not the gates directly in front of you. And I wonder if you've tried to attack other gates. And if you have tried to attack other gates and the problem still persists, then it may well indeed be that battle model itself.
We must repel the invaders.
We might have to look into it. So, that I think is everything to talk about version 1.1. We're only 18 minutes in. But then this episode was always going to be talking about it. The channel is heavily based on DaC. I'm not going to not talk about it. I'm the lead modder for DaC. I'm the head of DaC, in fact. But I was also going to say there was no video yesterday because I was busy on Thursday. So that's why there's a video today. Because as I said last week, I fully expected to drop Saturday off as a day off. We're going to go down to 5 videos a week. And Saturday and Thursday will be the days with no video. However, because this week Friday was a day with no video because I was busy on Thursday, Saturday has instead taken its place. If you're wondering what I was doing on Thursday, well, first of all, I was held back at court because His Honour sat a lot later to deliver his hour-and-a-half long judgment. So I couldn't leave the court, and then I went to the cinema with Jess, Little Blue Ferret, and we saw Doctor Strange. And I must confess, I wasn't really that taken with it. I liked Doctor Strange, and Benedict Cumberbatch is, it cannot be denied, a very skilled actor, and he was engrossing and entertaining, and I'm sure the world wouldn't have minded if he didn't have to be American. Only because we all know him as English. There's hardly anything he's been in so far where he's had to force on an American accent. And would it have really mattered to the character that much if he'd actually then just been an English person who'd like moved to America? I'm not saying that like English is better or anything, but his forced accent was so noticeable because everything we've ever seen him in, he's been English. So I'm not sure that they needed to make him American just because the character like, originally was. But anyway, that's only a minor point. And I liked him, and I liked Mads Mikkelsen a lot. I think he's cracking actor. Basically, I liked all the actors and all of their portrayals of their characters, but I just found the general story to be like meh. It was so boring. It was like a typical somebody who's going to be really good at it but hasn't had a chance to do it yet, and then learns it all in like a week, and then boom, he's suddenly amazing, and now he's like the lord of everything. It's like just one of those classic, like there's a lot of films like that in sports where, has anyone ever seen The Mighty Ducks? In The Mighty Ducks, one of the characters is like I can't remember his name, I'm afraid, but he's like a rebel, and he breaks the window of the new coach, his limo, and he's an incredibly powerful shot with a puck, and so he's amazing at the role straight off, but he doesn't want to do it, and he's reticent, and he holds back, and then he eventually just takes to the role, and suddenly he's like one of their best players. And it's just that, but replayed in a more like mystical setting. And I didn't really enjoy it. But if the end scene was anything to go by, I really hope that Doctor Strange is going to be in Thor, which I think is called Ragnarok, Thor 3. Because I just didn't really like the premise. I don't know. I just thought the film was just so by the numbers. A big enemy is threatening the whole world, and someone steps up and saves it. It's like, I know that you could probably break down every superhero film to be just like that, like an enemy threatening the world, and the superhero steps up to save it. But at least in the other one, there's other dynamics. Like in the Avengers itself, whilst yes, that was the basic premise, what caught your attention to that film, in my mind, was just the sheer audacity of it. Having all these major names fighting together, that was what made it cool. They were fighting together. It wasn't just a superhero saving the world. It was a team of superheroes. There were different mini-stories around them. And having all their different fighting styles in one film made it. And but this one I just thought, I don't know, maybe because the concept now is just so old. We've had like these beginner films, what do they call them, origin stories, for so many of the heroes now that it just kind of gets a bit dull. I don't know. Whatever the reason that I can't seem to articulate, I didn't particularly enjoy the film, but I liked the characters a lot. So I'd like to see the characters again, particularly Chiwetel Ejiofor. I think he's an incredible actor. And I'm not smug or at all about the fact that I can flawlessly pronounce his name. But I think he was great, and he was great again. And as I say, I love him. And Mads Mikkelsen is a really good actor. I've liked him ever since I saw him in King Arthur with Clive Owen, and I like him up till now. So, but I just didn't like the film. So there you are. Something to talk about while all our Dunlendings kill other Dunlendings. The enemy has... This tactic really does work, doesn't it? It totally stalls them. By putting your troops either side, the enemy just goes square down the middle, and then that's it. Now, we have... Interestingly, though, we are actually winning out, which I do find shocking, because they have got better quality units in and amongst this group, but maybe they've just not brought them to the front yet. Our archers are getting reasonable shots, but we are probably killing many of our own before they're going down. Oh, look, they've finished as well. Well, let's not waste them. Pull back. Oh, I'll tell you what I didn't do is I was going to run them out and flank and attack. No, I didn't, and it's not really worth it now. Although we might be able to catch any that try and run away, I suppose. So. Out you go, lads. Merchants of Bree. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it just... Are the dwarves still going? Yes, they are. I suppose we should probably try and defend this bit. There you go. Got them to move at least. The infinitely harder task of moving up them. No, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it, and I can't be bothered to try and make them. If you don't want to move into formation, that's fine. You can just stand on the edge of the square and die there instead. Although you never know, you know, we might actually win this. Well, there's no might. We will win this. But we might not even get the dwarves involved. Anybody not moving? No, that's everything we wanted. How are we doing at the front? Also, if their general dies, then we'll charge in our merchant cav. And even though they're all behind the gate, the effect will be phenomenal. Anyone breaking yet? No, they've taken a lot of losses though. Now, if you're wondering, Oh no, I've already spoken about that, haven't I? The shield wall increasing their mass, and that's why it's harder to charge enemies in shield wall formation. It's our merchants. Now the merchants are a unit that I really like because I love it when units don't conform to the set pattern. And as I've spoken of, this is one of the reasons why Desenius and myself fell out heavily, and he eventually left the mod. Because he didn't like any form of variety. Everyone must conform to his completely medieval. I'm not going to go into it again because I've done it before, but to summarise for those of you who may not have heard, Desenius was incredibly well versed is the better word, well versed on medieval knowledge and times, and he assigned a class system to every single unit in existence. The problem is because he was so rigidly confined by this medieval structure, he didn't allow any variety in it whatsoever, and my changing and my variety eventually made him get annoyed and he left. But the merchant cav are very interesting because they cost an absolute arm and a leg in upkeep because they're merchant cav. And given that obviously their armoured breastplates that they wear, I gave them a really high armour stat of 13. That is very, very high. I mean, even Dwarven Volunteers only have 8. And their dwarves heavily armed unit that we've got on show here. I mean, the average for humans around this type is around 4 or 5. And I gave them 13. But they offset that with the fact that they're essentially classic mercenaries and their morale is really low. They'll be like the first unit to break. And their attack isn't particularly fly, and their defense skill is very, very poor. So they're basically just really expensive shields. And the minute it seems like the battle is going awry, they will drop said shields and bugger off. So they're a very cool unit that has to be used wisely. Especially because that same theory was passed on to their dismounted equivalent. So the dismounted merchant, who are called merchant militia, I believe, they have exactly the same premise, same theory assigned to them. No, I'll tell you what I'm going to do with you. I'm going to put you in shield wall, and then I'm going to put you in the middle of that unit. So the merchant cav, it's not too bad, because no one should really ever be using cavalry as mainline fighters. Unless you have no other choice, they should always be hit and run and chasing down routed units, nothing more. Anything more than that, you're wasting them. Unless they're like the White Knights of Dol Amroth, who are a true melee cavalry unit. So with the cavalry, you don't see it as much, but with their dismounted equivalents, you do see it. And you have to really be careful, because they have got terrible morale. Our first unit has broken, the Dunlanding Warband, mercenaries from Dunland. The other 2 units, however, are doing alright. And by the time the enemy reaches us, they'll lose half their number. They'll also be tired. Oh, there we go, the others have broken. What are they doing? Oh, see, look, that doesn't even count as... the whole settlement is just off. Everything about it is just wrong. Oh, they've got archers there. And they're not sending in the chieftain just yet. Tell you what we're going to do. Oh, hold on, actually. Oh, bugger, 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 bugger.
Only half the enemy force remains. Our men are winning the battle.
Don't let them get anywhere near them.
Like this, we will smash the enemy.
You guys come over and catch these clan spearmen. Which ones are they chasing down, though? Oh, they are going for the general. Well, bugger. No, they've turned. Go back. Oh, they've fully turned. They're not even... Oh, I don't even know what they're doing. Are those archers still firing at us? No, it's the chieftain's bodyguard now. Don't know where the archers went. Dwarves, you nearly there? Oh, the archers are trying to shoot them and they're chasing them round. This is an interesting one, isn't it? Right, you might as well get involved. Because they'll be sandwiched on the far side of our settlement and they will almost certainly break and run away. In the centre... Oh, no, not even. Oh, the chieftain's bodyguard have got involved though, that's good. Some 4 axemen out there. These dwarves are probably very tired by now. Or winded. Men of Dale, it is time! No, the archers are still shooting them though. No one's fled yet. wonder if we went and stood here, will the towers start firing again?
Our men are winning the battle. If we continue like this, we have lost half our men.
It's a sitch. See, that chieftain's bodyguard I would really like to attack in the back. But to do so, we've got to get through the gate, and these 4 axemen are unwittingly holding it. Go on. Oh, they're wavering, they're wavering. Oh, we're doing really well. We lost like no one. Maybe I underestimated how useful it was that they had really high armor levels. No. As soon as they get up against a unit that actually can do damage, their weakness suddenly shows. You are joking! The clan hunters and clan... Oh my goody... Good... oh dear, it's suddenly turning. There's a risk.
Our men are winning the battle. If we continue like this, we will smash the enemy.
How on earth has that happened? How on earth have the Dunlanding clan spearmen
The enemy general
and
flees.
clan
Coward
hunters?
he is. Press onward and break the spirit of his army.
I'm literally at a loss for words. How have they managed to kill a full unit of dwarven warriors, essentially, which is what they are?
Our men have captured the enemy general. Guard them well, so we can watch us defeat the
It's
rest
just
of
madness.
his army.
It's just absolute madness. Probably because they left it at time 6 and didn't go and investigate, but there we are. At least our captain never died. He might get promotion out of this. He might get...
Army,
oh, yeah.
We are victorious.
882 of us died.
Well today.
You know what that is? That is the presence of a well-ranked general, or just a general, full stop, controlling your army. And Archer's got the greatest kills. And we only lost a few to our own fire. If we had had a general leading our troops, we would have killed far more than that. And to lose 882. But then I suppose we do have to remember that half of our army was human there, so they can't expect it to be the best of the best. Because the humans don't match up to the dwarves. We should have put the dwarves at the gate. But then they probably would have died as well, actually, wouldn't they? Oh, good, he went back to the town. Oh, dear. Dunland have got so much more available might than we have. We just can't counter them.
An enemy to crush.
Ah, we reached the Blue Mountains. Still ready for one time. I don't expect the words of the victory thrones are spoken to choose it. Now we must wait and hope the Dwarven warriors come to Khazad-dûm from the west. Hell yeah, we've got to wait for that. Haven't we just gone through the barracks event, actually? No, not yet. Somewhere between 64 and 66, I think the barracks event goes, or 64 and 68, something like that. How many more turns have we got there as well? 6 more until that surrenders. I'm probably going to end the episode there, by the way. You probably guessed anyway, but as that is a perfect pausing point. And also our general's in there now, so that should do a lot better. I really need this place to be freed up so we can go back down and take Baruk before too much happens. But I will end the episode there, so I apologise if you're not interested in DaC at all and you watched me for other things. It's been a very dull episode for you, and even for those of you that follow DaC. Well, no, I wanted to give a download, and I don't want to do a separate video just to say what bugs we found. So thank you very much for watching, if indeed you have. Apologies that my voice just went, but thank you anyway. And until we speak again, dearest friends, Navar na den pedimad melonin, and farewell.